It is 11:31. Let's kick this off. Jim, how you doing today? And we have Simon.
Here we go. Yes, I had to put my audio on. Hi, everybody.
Hello there.
How's it
All right.
going?
It's going well.
Hmm.
All right, there is our commercial crew right there. It's really important. One of the things that we definitely want to do is referral leads back and forth for our residential agents to our commercial agents on that. If you're on in your res, find a commercial agent to help you with your commercial properties. Just refer that over. And we've talked about we talked about the documentation stuff like that to use on referrals. You guys have that? Do you know where to find it? So if you have a referral, what to do with it? Referral document?
Jennifer?
No. No?
I mean, I know you talked about it, but
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm doing one with Trent Zimmer right now. We just have a verbal.
You have a verbal?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I just
Is
saw
Brent
you
on
on
there?
Zoom too. Hannah, do we have that form? That form is in select.com
I'll send it in the recap.
and it's under documents. Okay. And in that form, it goes through, like, there's 3 different levels. That's what we want to do there. I want to see out loud referral or on that whole front. But you definitely want to use that documentation. We run into more problems when there's a referral and there's no documentation, it was a handshake. And one person says it was this and one person says it was that, then one person just takes the whole commission. Really interesting. So you want to go ahead and get that documentation clean. It makes all of our lives a lot better. What do you say? Remember those conversations?
I do remember those
Yeah.
conversations.
Those are fun.
You know, the market
Yeah.
They could.
They could.
Absolutely, but they don't hear on that route. So make sure you do referrals on that. Bucket fillings. Anyone got any ahas? Bucket fills, something good that happened in the last week or two? Something great.
Simon's got a big closing tomorrow, and he worked hard on it, so I am happy for that.
It's not an aha, just went the way it was supposed to for once, so that's nice.
Simon, what is happening with the face?
What's happening with the what?
With your beard?
Oh, it got warm out.
Yeah. We're heading into summer.
So
We're
what?
heading in- it's kind of like Groundhog's Day, you know, when the beard goes, you know, it's only gonna get warmer.
Yeah, that's it.
Simon, let's touch base. What property are you closing on?
56,000 square foot building in Waseca.
In Waseca, excellent. And when did you get the client?
What was that?
How did you get the client?
It was just through the phone. They reached out and we're looking for some folks around the area that they could start. There's some cannabis folks. And it turned into something a lot bigger than I thought it was going to. So we're going for the 56,000 square foot building in Waseca for a grow base. And then they needed 27 acres of leased land just south of that for an outdoor. And now we're working on another 3 retail spaces ranging around Minnesota.
You know, I got some really good news. We have Lakeview Bank here today, and they're one of the few banks that will actually lend on cannabis. I'm totally kidding.
Anybody?
But it's better than I'll get people's attention on that. So if people have referrals in that area, that section, let's reach out to Simon on that. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else?
Absolutely.
Going once. Going twice. Sold. All right. If you really wanted to know who won March Madness, it was Brooke Boss.
Boss won the March Madness. That's so awesome.
Pat, I'm a little disappointed. Me too. Yeah, did not get a lot. Thought you had that whole realm. All right.
Friends, we are so thrilled to introduce Kim. We realized that we hadn't had the opportunity to introduce Kim to all of our commercial folks. And so Kim is our new MCA. She joins us. She is, since coming to our market center, like the amount of things that have been done is amazing. And she's been with us for like 4 days. No, I'm teasing. It's been a little bit more, but Kim, come on up and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you. Okay. So guys, gals and guys, when you are reaching out, you still use the same email address, klrw475@kw.com. It still goes to the same place. So
It'd be a combination of myself and Vanessa and Michelle will be seeing it. And then we have lots of behind the scenes chats as to and managing it. So I've gotten to the point where I actually wake up in the middle of the night and I'm having thoughts about my next steps. So, I've got the notebook alongside my bed already, so that's good. I have an education background. I taught elementary, but then I was an elementary principal for 14 years. So I oversaw 270 students, 60 staff members, teachers, administrative staff, custodial staff, and then decided to make a change. So landed here. So excited. The big life things are, I'm going to be a grandma coming up in next week. I just found out
Next week.
they're going to be inducing her. So I'm very excited about that. And my other son is having a child as well. So both my boys will be having, we'll have grandbabies within 2 weeks of each other. So just excited to be here and excited to be a grandma and all the good stuff.
That is awesome. So you and Jen are gonna be having grandma.
Yeah, I know. I'll be able to share pictures with everybody. Yeah.
Awesome.
So reach out if you have any questions. I'm still learning, but starting to get my feet under me. So if I don't have the answer, I am at the point where I know who can get it for me, and it usually starts with Hannah. So yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Kim is talent in a big, big way. So thank you for joining our team. It's a big deal. I've also done some flips with Kim and her husband. So they know a little bit about real estate. The Jim, congratulations. I don't know if anyone, hopefully other people have been as far as Midcar. Jim was highlighted. I know her husband this month. Industry. You what? I know her husband. David knows Kim's husband. I'm so excited. Has anyone besides myself, I know Jim Simon has seen Jim's article in Midcar.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome. That is an absolutely big deal. Let's use that to get some more business, right? Hopefully you sent that out to all your peeps.
Yeah, it was a surprise to me, and I appreciate Mincar for doing it. And we'll see if the exposure to other agents in all of Minnesota and Wisconsin help generate some more business for us in KW.
One of the things with that, I believe Jim is the first commercial agent to be highlighted as far as who wasn't directly in the Twin Cities.
Yeah, we were the first outstate group to be highlighted from Mincar, which is good because it is Minnesota commercial, real estate, and there's more than the metro, and they're acknowledging that. So we do business out here also.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome. And when we go ahead and look at like active listings and stuff like here in a second, you're going to see why Jim and it's being highlighted. Cool. So it's just very cool. All right, coming up in April, just a couple things. On April 16th, we're going to have a class here. Actually, David is running it. It is why aren't there more millionaires? It's a question I ask myself all the time. On that realm, April 16th at 1:00 in the Market Center. You are not going to be able to watch this one on Zoom. That'll be live stream right here, and we cannot send it out anywhere else. And then also we have coming up Brett Canner. And that is, are there seats even available?
it's limited seating, but we do still have a few.
Okay, because it was like only 10 left. Like
There was only 10 left.
supposedly. Supposedly.
And I can't imagine that they would shut us down.
On that
Turn
road.
us away.
We can add more chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you are available that day, you want to go to this guy, he is absolutely, he's worth hundreds upon hundreds of millions of dollars. He started as a real estate. He goes ahead and he buys properties. He has a podcast. It's the Be Wealthy podcast. I listened to that. I was listening to it today. He's good. The pending and closed transactions. All right, John Dusek, who's not here today, he has a lease property that's available 1,500 square feet. That is in downtown Hudson, pretty much right on the corner. On that realm, we used to be able to buy shoes there. Now you can go ahead and put anything in there that you want on that. So he also has multiple properties in Hudson going as well. So if you have anything in Hudson, make sure you let John know. The Simon, Jim, you get a list of your properties. You want to highlight any of them?
If you're coming to anywhere outstate and you're looking for something, let us know. I'm sure we can find it as one of our properties or an unlisted or unlisted one. Yeah. The probably 340 Stadium is 18 or 17 apartments and 3 retail spots. It's listed for 4.8 million. If you have investors, that might be a pretty decent investment if somebody's looking at something. It has some fur around its financials. So we need an investor that can look at this and really replace the management company that's in there. The management company is currently at 50% income, 50% expenses, which is totally unacceptable. We're trying to get a different management company, but a purchase, you could fire the current management company and move that thing into, where it needs to be, somewhere around 33 to 38% expenses to income ratio. So yeah, that would be my best investment property. Otherwise, if you got somebody looking, I'm sure we can find it around here.
What's moving in that area right now?
Say what?
What's moving in your area right now? What's actually people calling you? Is it office, land?
Cannabis and data centers. If
Okay.
it wouldn't be for cannabis and data centers, that's really kind of driving the ship right now for us. What's happened, we have some smaller businesses leasing. I wish we could find some stability in our economy. I think that would really help everything move a little bit better. Got a lot of people looking, but when it gets right down to it, they're having a hard time pulling the trigger, except for cannabis and data center people. And I don't know if everybody else is having that same thing. They're just waiting for an interest rate to kind of fall where it's going to be. Maybe we're there. Fuel prices to kind of stabilize unemployment and all that kind of stuff. I wish those economic indicators could find a home. And I think when they do, we're going to be so busy we don't know what to do with ourselves again, which, fingers crossed, happens sooner than later.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if Dale just sold some land for a data center in Farmington, that took years. I don't know if you guys touched base on that, but that took years to go through on that front. But that just finally closed on that front. Thank you. Any off-market opportunities or any other properties that anyone want to highlight? I would like to buy an apartment complex 8 or up. So if anyone knows anything, let me know.
I do have one. I have a friend from college who wants to buy a manufacturing facility in North St. Croix or South Polk County. Like Dresser, Osceola, East Farmington. and there's really not anything for sale for like manufacturing. They do, what is it when they like cut metal? What's that called?
CNC.
Fabrication.
Yeah.
They do like fabrication,
shop.
so he needs like they need like thicker concrete floors and they need like heating and air conditioning. And so I've been just kind of keep my eye out for him. But if you know of anything,
How big?
they want to move their business from Oakdale to Wisconsin. They're looking for at least probably 15,000 square feet.
Okay.
They don't need huge, but they need something to move their equipment, and then they want to expand upon that in the coming years.
Okay.
So I don't know if you hear of anything manufacturing in Wisconsin.
Just as a suggestion, oftentimes when you get to some of these smaller communities,
Yeah.
inventory is a bit tight. So sometimes your best option is finding land and building it.
Yep.
And working with contractors that's willing to throw together a bid and say, hey, I'll lease this back or I'll build this on this site for this amount, and then let the contractor pay your commission on the whole project. Might be a direction that you might find success in.
Okay. Thank you.
Jim may know a contractor that does those type of buildings as well. Anyone else?
Create your own inventory.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Brian, can you come up and hang out with us for a little bit? So Brian is with Lakeview Bank and he runs the commercial side, the commercial division of Lakeview Bank. And he's decided to come up and hang out with us here today. And we're just gonna ask you some questions on what you see like in the commercial world right now in the lending front, what's working and what's not.
Didn't prepare much. I've been doing this for quite a while, so I've seen a lot of different cycles right now. Kind of coming from a larger bank the last 4 years to a small bank. What I'm seeing in that's local experience. The pipeline for us, because we're a community bank, we have a nice pipeline, but it's a lot of owner occupied transactions. Very, not a tremendous amount of, I would call strictly investment real estate. We're not seeing a tremendous amount of that. That which we are seeing is very specific to a category, maybe an existing client, but some housing, some student housing, some retail. Surprisingly, we have 2 office projects that we're working on. But so there is still some activity in the repositioning of smaller office spaces. So we will look at it. But as you can imagine, that's one of your most sensitive categories right now. Larger office space. Most of that has to be repositioned. And so, we're seeing us, because it's owner occupied based or driven, right? So we're seeing opportunities, buyers, our clients are seeing opportunities to buy versus lease. Some of the prices of some of the industrial property or manufacturing type sites actually has softened a little bit. Larger spaces that maybe were overbought during the COVID years seem to be kind of coming back down a little bit to reality. There's a little bit more supply out there. You guys can see that all the time. The industrial spec space that seems to be continuing to be built. So I think rents have maybe been a little bit more acceptable again for an owner occupant user. They're just coming down. They're becoming more reasonable as a percentage of their operating costs. So some of those folks choose to buy. The building next door comes up for sale, that type of thing. One property in particular that I'm seeing right now, I think it's going to actually sell at a reduction from 5 years ago by about $1.5 million. Pretty good size industrial manufacturing site, special use. But it was bought by a large investment group and leased back. And that price, I think, is about $1.5 million to $2 million less than it was when it last traded. So some of that's going to happen. That's going to help buyers, investors, investment real estate, folks that are looking for an opportunity.
Absolutely. Where do you see the biggest opportunity right now? Is it industrial? Is it in multifamily? Is it in office? Where are you seeing?
Everything costs so much to build, so I would say anything that's performing.
Anything that's, okay,
Anything that's just kind of performing, I think there are buyers out there that aren't gonna buy something not performing, right? They gotta buy it, they gotta make money. So they gotta buy that acquisition or buy that asset at a number that kind of guarantees them some sort of coverage. So, again, on the investment side, I'm not seeing a lot of repositioning, but there is some, and that would be in, primarily in office. This building needs to be refreshed. The seller's had it for 50 years or 40 years and is ready. They don't want to put the money in. So some of that's trading, or it's gone back to a bank or to some of that has happened as well on that office side.
Do you like those deals?
What's that?
Do you like those deals as a lender?
It all depends on my borrower group. I mean, really, I wouldn't want too many of them. I've got 2 right now, or 1 going into a second one. But it's all about the borrower. It's really about that person's ability to have done it in the past, their equity group, just their experience in an imperfect market if things don't go quite right. That's really, really important. I always say, like, the important part of that type of opportunity is just to sit down and understand potentially how that person's going to respond when things aren't going exactly right. So I focus on those borrowers. They've gone through it before. They think there's an opportunity. I might even believe it that there's an opportunity, but if it doesn't go quite right, I don't want to be the only one trying to work through the deal, right? So looking for someone with experience in that realm, doesn't have weak knees about having to honor a guarantee or some of those things, or at least work through it with me. That's pretty important. So,
on the office side right now, there must be multiple offices coming up and the interest rates going.
yeah,
Almost double.
well, that's every commercial. That's really any loan, but yeah, on the commercial side, we're seeing. I just looked at one yesterday. They locked in a 10-year deal. 10-year deal in 2021. Smart, they locked in 10 years. They insisted on it apparently. 2.99% maturing in 5 years, right? So they're halfway through it, I think it is. So yeah, I mean that's. But I would say most of those, if it's an investment property where someone says, "Hey, I need that 2.99 to make this deal work," guess what? It's not going to work. It's not going to work now when it's coming out for renewal. And I saw that at my last bank, and you go from 2.9, 3.5 to 6.5 or 7 or maybe 6 if it's a performing property, somewhere in that lower 6 range. But performing is important.
Yeah.
So owner occupied folks will not feel the same stress about, yes, they'll have more debt service. That'll increase their cost to carry, but it's their business, right? So it's they did just fine the last 5 or 7 years at 2.5% and 3.5%, but it's just they need their building. They need their equipment. That doubling of rates or adding another 60% to rates is just a cost of doing business. Now, again, if you go back to an investor who built their whole model on, it's got to be 3.5% to work.
Yeah.
That's going to be for some very painful. There was a lot of pay downs when I was at a larger bank. I'd say, and here's where I put the caveat: a lot of larger banks, and when Wells Fargo, U.S. Banks of the world, Chase, all those guys, they'll look at the right sizing of that loan probably a lot more strictly than maybe a community bank would. If we have good borrowers and good people, as I kind of talked about earlier, and all of a sudden you look at a loan, you go, well, now it's going to 6.5%, and it doesn't cash flow quite. We probably wouldn't say, buy that, pay that loan down by, $1 million. We would probably find a way to get them to a better place. Not immediately. A big bank would just say, it doesn't work. It's an investment property. you need to cover, so you need to pay it down by this to get it to work, to our ratios.
What are you gonna do?
Well, we're gonna work with the borrower, you know, and typically I don't have $20 million transactions.
Yeah.
You know, these are smaller investor properties, some homes. So we will spend, if we already have it on our books with our customer, we're not gonna tell them to pay it off necessarily. If it's cash flowing, they have other resources. We will look at their global cash flow and try to retain that loan without too much pain, if any. You know, that would be pretty dire for us to say. We would more likely, in a dire situation, just say yes, versus really kind of getting after the customer.
You have that going on right now? Are you asking folks to?
I'm not asking anybody to pay, on a right sizing. I'm not really doing any rights. I mean, I'm working with the borrower. Again, most of my stuff is owner occupied. So as it comes due and you look at that cash flow and the business can handle that cash flow.
Because I think a lot of people are having that conversation with their clientele, they might be having that conversation themselves.
Sure.
Right now, like, okay, when this comes due, I think we were just talking about it in a
We went from.
half an hour ago.
I'm dealing with one right now where their loan doesn't come due, I think, for 18 months. And they got a great rate. But they're talking now with me. Because the time to refinance that might not be in 18 months. It might be somewhere here in the next 6.
Yes.
You know, right? Hey, let's not wait till the very end because we don't know what's happening in 18 months. As long as there isn't a huge prepayment penalty. And so some of those things, we will look at global cash flow, but if I'm bringing in a sizable new investment transaction, investor real estate, not an owner occupant type deal, I'm not going to come and just look at it and go, well, that doesn't cash flow, but globally you do. And so I'll do the loan. I'd probably say, that one's got to work. And so does your global. So yeah, no, it's, but I already have the loan on my books. And it's not working temporarily. But overall, the borrower is healthy or has global cash flow and the ability to sort of carry it through to a better day with a higher rate, a higher payment. You know, we'll work with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll work with our borrowers. So, but interest rates have been interesting. I think you guys see it with your clients. There's if you have a commodity type transaction in investment real estate or even an owner occupant, you've got all your ratios are in line and you have 30%, 30% to put down, all of that kind of good stuff. You can shop till you're blue in the face and probably find something just under 6% on a 5-year deal on commercial. On commercial, that would be at the very low end of anything we would do. Typically our transactions probably a little higher rate than that, but it all does depend on the borrower. It kind of really depends on what the opportunity is. I had one right now, owner occupant moving into a bigger building. I would tell you they're selling a building that's free and clear and they're buying this one. They're going to be at like 40% loan to value. So guess what? That they're not going to see a lower rate than what we're going to offer them. It's just, it's a perfect deal. It's a great customer. So there is situations. I don't have a price sheet that says you have to pay this rate. Every condition is just a little different based on what they're trying to accomplish. Owner occupant deals. We've been focusing or using a lot of the SBA 504 programs for owner occupant users. 51% or more of the space, if they use it, they would qualify for that. And what we like about that for our borrowers, it preserves equity. They don't have to put as much money down. And they're able to take about half of the loan, 40% of the loan, and the SBA finance it directly, fixed rate, 20 or 25 years. The rate's under 6. It's a great way to blend the rates and use it kind of more leverage but less equity, so they can preserve that for their business. So we're using a lot of that in community banking. Almost all of us do if we can. So I mean, I've seen rates. Rates tended to start kind of tailing down a little bit. If you look at the treasuries and you look at we use FHLB advance rates, that's kind of one of our indexes. That rate has actually gone back up again. you know, so that's, you know, technically rates should be going up, but it's kind of like in your savings account. They're probably not raising our rates right now. So, everything's kind of staying the same, waiting for some, but rates should be going up by about 25 basis points to 50 basis points the last 3-4 months. That's just what the indexes say, but, you know, but we're not passing all of that along right now.
Absolutely.
So, but it's a good market. So for us, for Lakeview Bay, you know, we tend to spend most of our time with our community, kind of in our community or surrounding community. We do have several lenders that spend a lot of time up in the Egan area here, in Grove Heights. But you know, based out of Lakeville, we have people all over the Twin Cities area, but you know, obviously owner occupants are our best clients, those who are willing to bring a little bit more than just a loan, you know, a little bit of a relationship, operating accounts, that's our bread and butter.
Absolutely.
So,
Do you guys have any questions before I ask another one?
I have a question. Are you financing any storage units right now? Like, have you seen a lot of those opportunities or like transfer of ownership?
I know one that we're actively financing the construction of right now. Yeah. And it's smaller. I mean, it's more of a boutique, kind of like a business condo type product, local to Lakeville. But I am familiar with storage, so I've done a lot of it, but usually on a larger, kind of almost like a syndicated type deal. But yeah, that for some reason, because we don't throw away junk, that's a good segment. Any storages, if you can find the space.
So you're in Lakeville, right?
What's that?
You're in Lakeville.
I'm in Lakeville. If you know where Hosanna Church is, that's where our physical location is. We're right in front of Hosanna on County Road 46, 10, 11 minutes from. So, but you know, we're looking at some like a production office up in the Egan area where we'd have a couple of lenders and some staff. We've been actively working on that. So we'll be up in this area as well before too long. We're just kind of working on expanding our footprint south of the river to different markets. So the only person I saw on your list that I really knew or had met before, I think, is Kathy, and she's probably not on there. Kathy yet.
Oh, Kathy Gardner?
But
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
she's not on with us today.
see her at Love play pickleball. I think it's a pickleball. player.
Yeah, he is a football player. Uh-huh. True.
Anyone online got any questions? Maybe.
If I can help any of you, let me know, or just call if you need advice or,
Where are you seeing opportunity right now in the market? I mean, where are you seeing as far as like
What should we be buying?
cash flow investments that are coming through? Like, you know what, right now, these are probably undervalued for where the
Yeah.
market's going.
that's a good question. Just kind of acquiring some, you know. It's also different. I see them in every category.
Sure.
I've got clients that'll come in and they're buying a duplex in Owatonna. And you wouldn't think that would be extremely a fantastic transaction. But, you know, it seems to work. They're buying right. They're looking at it right. We just have a lot of entrepreneurs or a lot of people out there. I don't know if there's a segment I would say is absolutely robust right now. You know, like people are jumping out of their chairs to go invest in it or acquire it. Industrial is still interesting, but the stuff I'm seeing where I said the owner occupant transaction is more people are looking at that because there's prices may have come down a little bit on some of the manufacturing older space. You know, I don't know what class you would categorize that. It's not brand new spec warehouse space. It might be a B, it might be a B minus, but it's got 15 foot or 20 foot clear and some office. And so people are taking that opportunity right now. I guess I'm just seeing a lot of that if I had to kind of just by personal experience. Maybe
Absolutely.
there's just a small little, the opportunities in some of those markets are now, you know, if you're going to keep leasing and get, have your landlord raise your rents, or is now the time to go buy that building for $2.5 million or whatever. So I've seen a little bit of that flurry right now, and it might just because it's spring. I don't know.
Absolutely. Excellent. Is there any like predictions or are you seeing anything in the future? Like office space is gonna look better, warehouse is gonna be in more demand, storage, multifamily. Are you seeing like, hey, through the people you're hanging out with, this class is really underdeveloped and we need to grow it, or there's opportunity there?
Yeah, I mean, the easy answer is housing. Because I still think most markets have some sort of shortfall. But there's also, so I would say that is still, people are still looking at that, but there's a disconnect in there with what you're building, not everybody can build a luxury apartment building.
Mhm.
Not everybody can have, whatever, $4 a foot, personal rents or whatever. It is. So the reliance in those areas right now seems to be unaffordable or senior, where they can get some sort of additional help from our government,
Absolutely.
tax credits or even some of that. So I still think housing is robust. You just got to find a way to combat the high cost to build.
Absolutely.
Conversion, I'm not seeing a lot of conversion at the conversion of space into residential. At the size of our bank, that would be probably much larger ticket item. Yeah, I mean, we've seen some hospitality just a little bit. Which was kind of surprising to me, smaller hotel properties changing hands.
That was gonna be my question, is there something, because we have a lot of very seasoned commercial brokers in this particular office, so they've been doing this a long time.
Sure.
Is there something in the market that they may not see? Because you know how sometimes when you're doing something for a really long time, you can't see the forest through the trees.
Yeah.
And when you mentioned hospitality, that's not necessarily something that we've heard about, talked
Right.
about. So is there some sector, is there something that you're seeing from a lending perspective that you would share with us that we might not see in regards to the commercial market right now? Something that's like an outlier that, and it might be hospitality, but it's something that is not necessarily I don't want to say tried and true, but the things that we always see, Is there anything that you're seeing new on the market?
I mean, there's just so many different segments. I think I just had I had a client bring to us something that we hadn't done before. It's in the housing realm, but I'm just trying to think of something that would be helpful for you guys to keep your eyes open for. I think it's probably some of the still stuff that's not unknown. I mean, there are still property owners out there that probably haven't been willing to reinvest in their retail space or in their industrial space. There might be a re-envisioning of some of those spaces to be to appeal to smaller users. You see some of that value add where you take a big building, you turn it into 4 bays or 6 bays or drive-in door bays or some of that stuff. I tend to see a little bit more of that in the suburban areas. Obviously, some of the larger properties up in Minneapolis tend to just have different types of users than out here. So I would say just that smaller space. I've seen a trend in some office, kind of reconditioning, or even maybe even in an older strip mall where they come in and they'll do like the executive suites or the salon suites or some of those things. Again, it's a re-envisioning of what isn't working so well. Obviously buying right, but then just trying to fill the need in the market. So I just follow your entrepreneurs, your investors that you have, because they can come up with way better ideas than I can. I look at some of those transactions and I go, how did you wake up today and think about that one? But I'm here for you. Sounds good. Yeah. I wish I had a magic answer for that, but yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Great. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Ryan may not even know this, but way back in 2009, and I don't know if back in when it was the Apple Valley office, when that was solo, they ran out of money when the market crashed, and Lakeview Bank came to the rescue and gave out a loan to go ahead and keep the wheels running here on that front. So which is
We wouldn't be here today without them.
Correct. So that's why they're our mayor.
Yeah,
So
we're happy to
they're-
help.
Save the day.
that's what I've been told. So we're gonna stick with it. All right.
I don't think there's a. Is there? I could be wrong.
Guys, that's all we have. So thank you guys for everything. I will. On the 16th of April, David's having his class on why aren't there more millionaires?
Ooh, very good.
And we'll be set.
I am the orchestra leader. I'm not the orchestra.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mankato.
Hey,
Good to see you
before we
all.
go,
Oh, yeah.
before we go, while we were sitting here, I got the official announcement. Chad here has stepped down as our regional ambassador for our area, and about 2 weeks ago, I was asked to replace him. And I just got the official announcement right now that I am your new regional ambassador. So, hi, everybody.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you.
Huge.
Yep.
Huge. Are you gonna be running the monthly meeting then? As well?
Yeah, I'll be helping run the monthly meetings and do all that kind of stuff.
Awesome.
You're awesome.
Sure we
Yeah,
can do that.
I appreciate it. That's
People, they know.
That's good. That's good stuff. Our region just raised their lid
Yeah, that's-
a lot. We just
So-
raised their professional lid.
You don't have to.
So.
Anybody needs anything or has ideas for meetings, please feed me some.
Hey,
Absolutely. That's for each other.
thank you, Halbers.
Pull up my stress.
Well done.
Appreciate that.
That's a big deal.
That's such a sweet deal.
Ready?
They're such good humans.
Good, thank you. We got a lot of review.
Down to Florida.
Yeah. I don't know, but the last time I did kid had surgery.
Oh, okay.
So.
We're still doing it.
I think it's still in
We were gonna do
I
it.
just think-
Who is that girl used to be here, her boyfriend?
They're in
Oh, they're in California.
Florida. I lied.
Oh.
They're in Florida. You are.
Sheree. Great. Yes, yeah. Three.
Sheree.
Yeah.
I was thinking before Sheree. I was thinking of the EL in Egan. Like,
Yeah.
Tackle place.
no, like back in 2009 and 10.
But.
They just opened it till.
You never.
The
Closing her down.
her husband.
Oh, he's Texas. Yeah. They're rushing him right now.